It reminds you that you're all talk and no action. So get into the field, create. If you are a content creator, you create. I'm grateful to have pushed as much as I've pushed. I mean, guys, do you know how hard it is to grow from 0 subscribers to 500 subscribers? Like 500 subscribers. And the fact that there are people that actually drop a comment and be like, hey, like the video. Oh, this is what I'd like. Like, it's my friends, it's some strangers. We were preparing for days like this. You know, we prayed for days like this. So I was doing a routine before I started working, you know. I'm invested in what I do. What I do, the entire thing of sitting down and shooting a video, that gives me satisfaction. That does. Like, it makes me happy. I look forward to doing that. It makes me happy. If you want to achieve great mastery, you need to be willing to look like an idiot. You need to be willing to look like a beginner. You need to start. You need to learn. You need to, especially if you're someone that is not popular, someone that doesn't have the same advantages as other people, like popularity or like fame and stuff. Like, you need to be willing to start from scratch, from the bottom, and make your way up. So today I'm going to be talking about my YouTube journey. I've been seeing a lot of creators making a video about this, and I thought to myself, why would I create a video about how YouTube has changed my life when it hasn't? Like, how has it changed my life? When I started thinking about it deeply, I realized that, oh, wait a minute, like, I'm lying. I think this year, actually from last year, because I got back into YouTube last year. I had stopped creating content for like 2 years or 1 year. I'm not sure, but it had been a while since I had created content. So when I got back last year in September, I was very serious. I was just like, you know what, like, I'm going to go back and I'm going to be posting more. And I'm just going to, I don't know why I always apply a lot of primer. So when I started thinking about it, I realized that actually YouTube has changed my life with less than 1,000 subscribers. Specifically, YouTube has transformed my character, my work ethic, and my values. Just give you a little bit of a background in terms of my journey with YouTube. I started creating content in 2020, post-lockdown. Actually, we're still in lockdown, but it was coming to an end. So that was my first video right there. I thought, you know what, like, I'm going to take YouTube by storm. I'm going to be consistent. I'm just gonna do the most. It took me about, I don't know if it was 2 years or what, but it took me a while to get to 500 subscribers. This is the day I got to 500 subscribers. And I've been on 500 subscribers for like, yeah, close to 4 years since I started YouTube. So you can imagine just how discouraging that must have been. So it was quite difficult to continue because the growth was just so slow, and I just felt like my content wasn't interesting. No one was interested. And the reason I got into YouTube was because I felt like I wanted to be part of a community. Oh my God, that is like so yellow. Yeah, so as opposed to like ranting to my friends about stuff, I felt like I could just create content online and cultivate a community of people that would be interested in topics that I was interested in, and they would engage with me. And I knew that it was going to come from an authentic place. So yeah, there was no pressure or, I don't know, a sense of obligation to kind of entertain my content. So the feedback would be as real as it comes. Let's try this one. Oh, but the yellowness, jeez, that's insane. Going to first talk about authenticity. So currently I have 666 subscribers today as I'm filming this video. I only got to 600 subscribers this year. So for the longest time, the reason I couldn't even like create content consistently was because I wanted my content to be perfect. I wanted my content to be idealistic as opposed to real, because I felt like no one cares about my reality. Like, no one cares about me speaking about the same thing over and over again, or just not creating interesting content because I don't have money to go out, I don't have money to go on dates, I don't have money to romanticize my life, you know, stuff like that. So for the longest time, I wasn't creating content because I felt like I didn't have the resources, because I couldn't make my content luxurious, I couldn't make my content, you know, a specific way that I felt like people enjoy, you know. Because I wanted to create it in a certain way, it stopped me from creating authentic content. And by authentic content, I mean content that resembles my actual life, content that doesn't need me to go on a coffee date in order to put out a video, content that's just about my life. The reason I got into YouTube wasn't to create a luxurious image or like this idea that my life was this way. It was because I wanted to share authentic content that was realistic to my actual life, that was a representation of what was actually happening or what I was going through, or like just talking about real stuff as opposed to curating the content. This year I realized, hey, like I don't actually have to wait until I can go on a coffee date to create content. Like that's not what YouTube is about for me. Like it is about me creating content about my life. Like if I'm cleaning, then I'm going to create content about cleaning. If I am going to work, I remember I was so stuck because I felt like no one cares for a makeup video every day. And also, to be quite honest with you, I'm not someone that wears makeup every day, so I'm not really going to start wearing makeup every day because I have to put a video out. It didn't feel authentic and real to me, so it was kind of difficult to do it like that. And at the same time, I felt like I was quite scared to start doing talking videos, because do people care about what I have to say, or do I have something interesting to talk about without oversharing and making that the center or the focus of my content? Because I felt like I don't want to start oversharing details about my life in order to create content or to make my content interesting. So it was kind of like a tricky place to figure out, how do I go about creating authentic content without oversharing, without trying to clickbait people because I'm sharing juicy stories about my life and stuff, and story times and things like that. Then I ended up realizing that I don't have to go out of my comfort zone. I can just do stuff that I want to talk about. If I want to talk about how to get over a breakup because I've been there, then I can talk about that. If I want to talk about advice, if I feel like I am going through it, I am not as motivated as I used to be or as I normally am, and I want to kind of rant about that or talk about that, then I can come here and create a video, and someone who is going through something similar will find the video, will relate to it, and will have a conversation with me about it, you know, will tell me, hey, I've been feeling the same way, or this is what I think and whatnot, and then we just kind of have a conversation about it, as opposed to always bothering my friends. Because sometimes I want to talk about stuff, and because I can't create a video about it, they kind of have to engage with me even when it's not something that, you know, they feel the same way about, you know. And sometimes that disappoints me a bit, because I don't know, man, I want you to relate, and sometimes it's not always that people are going to relate to what you're going through in your life, because you're not living the same lives, you know, and you're not always experiencing things at the same time, right? For me, like, it's nicer when I'm experiencing something and someone that I'm talking to relates, because they are also going through something similar to what I'm going through. So I wanted something like that, right? Instead of just like bombarding my friends about it, let me just create content about it. That's the content, that's the point of my channel. That's why I started my YouTube channel. So then why not go on YouTube and talk about that? So that's where the whole authenticity comes in, where to create content that is realistic to my life, and it's also something that is actually happening, as opposed to curating the content, like waiting for a moment so that I can create content, or fabricating like a scenery, fabricating events, fabricating, stuff, or waiting to get money so that I can go to the spa and create a video about going to the spa, and I'm not saying that's bad or that's wrong. It is nice to do that, and I do save money to create certain pieces of content, but I'm saying in terms of like the authenticity part, YouTube for me is about just being real. You know what I mean? Like, it's really just about being real and just kind of having a digital diary where I showcase my life, and things that I'm interested in, things that I like, and talk about things that, like what's happening and stuff like that, And granted, yes, I also want to take this thing seriously and make it a career and all of that. But at the same time, I don't want to compromise like the realistic part of it because I want to create content. And then also on the topic of authenticity, another thing that is quite important to me when it comes to being authentic is that most of it, like when I started creating content, I always wanted approval, like from my friends and family, in terms of, is this video appropriate? Should I post this? Should I, like, is this engaging? Is this, and granted, it's okay to ask for advice and stuff like that. But I think at the same time, it does take away from the authenticity of my voice and my story and my point of view, because I'm so focused on trying to make it perfect and trying to make it suit everyone. Whereas the whole point is that it's not going to suit everyone. Oh, let me just turn on the light. Asking for a lot of opinions would take away from the authenticity of the content, because at the end of the day, yes, I want people to give me their honest opinion, but it's not going to serve everyone. It's not everyone is always going to relate to my videos, because sometimes it meets you at a point in your life where you don't actually agree with what I'm saying. You don't actually feel that way, So that shouldn't change my message because you don't feel that way about what I'm talking about at this present moment. There's someone who probably is feeling the way that I'm feeling, or gets my point of view, or gets like what I'm trying to say. And so the ones that get it will get it, and the ones that don't won't. And maybe another time I'll create another video and it will relate to you, YouTube has taught me to be okay with not serving everyone, be okay with not being for everyone, like being okay with other people disagreeing with me because they don't think about it like that, they don't see it like that. Being okay with also making mistakes, like leaving room for criticism where, if there are areas that I've missed, I'm able to go back and rectify and do better on the next video. I'm not sure if copyright is gonna actually mess me up because the music is getting a bit loud. Guys, my neighbor, he plays like really loud music all the time. He really sucks, hey? But I'm planning on moving very soon, so I don't know, we'll see. It has taught me to be okay with not being for everyone. Like I've always been someone who wants to please everyone and everyone to agree with me, everyone to see my point of view. And it's just like sometimes that's not always going to be possible, because sometimes people don't see where you're coming from right now because they are not there, and that's okay. And like I said, there's also room for improvement, room for criticism, constructive criticism that helps you do better, It has also taught me to be okay with putting myself out there for the things that I want. The fact that, sometimes you will look like an idiot for certain things when you're still doing them for the first time, when you're trying, when you're learning, you look like an idiot. You will look like you're trying. You will, and it's okay. Like, it's okay to learn. And that's why sometimes you find that there are people that are less talented than you, that have more than you. And that's because they are not afraid of putting themselves out there. Whereas sometimes we want so much perfectionism that it ends up stopping us from actually going for what we know we can do, or going for our dreams, or pursuing the things that we want to pursue, because you're waiting for that perfect moment so that you don't make mistakes. So if you want to achieve great mastery, you need to be willing to look like an idiot. You need to be willing to look like a beginner. You need to start, you need to learn, you need to, especially if you're someone that is not popular, someone that doesn't have the same advantages as other people, like popularity or like fame and stuff. Like, you need to be willing to start from scratch, from the bottom, and make your way up. That's been like a great journey that I have been embarking on with YouTube, and yeah, I love that. Another thing it has taught me is accountability. Oh my god, nothing will teach you to be accountable like YouTube, because if you're not creating, you're definitely seeing people that are creating on the app. And when it's something that you're passionate about, or something that really makes you happy, you yearn, like it makes you wanna leap and go back into creating, because you almost feel like you're missing out. You almost feel like, oh my god, like why am I sleeping on myself, you know? Especially if you've said you want to commit and you want to be consistent and you want to do all these things. Like, it reminds you that you're all talk and no action. So get into the field, create. If you are a content creator, you create. Every day when you don't do what you said you were gonna do, YouTube reminds you, in the sense of you're able to see when you last posted, you're able to see what you last said, you're able to see what other people, you know, who are in the same field as you are doing, and how they are showing up and all of that. And it reminds you how you are slacking, and no one wants to feel like they're slacking, you know? Everybody wants to feel like, yeah, like I'm the girl that I think I am. I'm someone who sticks to their word and is able to, you know, like keep their word. If they said they were gonna do this, they really do that, you know? So when you don't, you're reminded that you're a flaker, you know? You're someone that can't keep their word. And so you're always reminded that you're not showing up for your goals, you're not showing up for your dreams, you're not showing up for what you said you were gonna do. And so you do want to kind of prove the situation wrong by showing up, by creating, by coming back, you know? So I love that it really keeps you accountable, especially if you're doing it for yourself, not really for the engagement, the subscribers, and the money and the likes. Yes, ultimately, I also want to get paid. I also want to grow my subscribers and all of that, because it is positive feedback to be able to grow, because you see that people care about what you're saying, or people relate. Like, there are people that actually want to hear from you and want to engage with you and want to be in conversation with you. And that's ultimately why I'm here. It's because I want to engage with other people and have a sense of community, right? So it's always nice when you get the positive feedback and just the engagement. But at the same time, if you're doing it solely for that, you will keep on feeling like you're being rejected, and so that will discourage you and kind of make you stop creating. Whereas if you're doing it because, yes, you like it when people interact with you, but at the same time you're really doing it because you love it, like it makes you happy. Like when you look at the video, you look at the content, you look at the editing, you're like, yes, I love what I see. Oh my gosh, I nailed it. Oh my gosh, next time I'm gonna do this better, I'm going to improve on that and this. Like, that becomes fulfilling for you. And then the feedback is like a cherry on top. It's like, yes, I love that you get me. I love that you agree. I love that you see it the way that I see it, you know? That is like a cherry on top, but that's not necessarily the reason like you post. It's not necessarily the reason you create the content. So you need to have like a bigger why, so that it can be easier to kind of keep your word to yourself and your community about posting, about showing up, and about just growing and reaching, you know, the heights that you want to reach. That it does keep you accountable, even though no one comes and says anything, because I mean, I'm a small creator, so no one will say, oh my gosh, you're so, like, you've been gone from YouTube, why aren't you posting and stuff like that. But the fact that I get to see what's happening, I feel like I'm reminded of like what I'm supposed to do and what is it that I'm not doing, right? So yeah, I love the accountability part because it drives you, like it makes you want to go hard, it makes you want to continue and keep going, you know. And what I love about YouTube is that it's also very organic, you know. Like with Instagram, yes, you get likes and whatnot, but I feel like it's like it doesn't feel personal. Like YouTube feels so personal. It feels like these people know me, I know them, we care about each other, like they get me, you know, like they get me. If they are responding or commenting, it's because we're really just having a conversation, we're really just talking about it, and no one is out there checking if Nomfundo came to comment on Banbani's video, Nomfundo did this, Nomfundo. Whereas I feel like with TikTok and other social media platforms, there's always just that thing of like, if you follow someone, it means this. If you don't follow this person, if you comment here, if you like there's always just like underlying meaning when someone comments on someone else's thing, and there's just so much exclusivity with other apps as opposed to YouTube. And I think that's why with YouTube it just feels so organic and so real that even if you're not growing, even if like you get 1 subscriber a day, or you get like if you get like 50 views or like 10 views on a video, yes, it's 10 views and like, oh my gosh, like, ooh, only 10 people care to hear what I have to say. But it doesn't feel like you're naked. It doesn't feel like you're being exposed. Whereas with Instagram, if you get like 5 likes, it's just like, oh my gosh, you know. And you find that a lot of people interact with your stories, but they don't interact with your actual content. So it just feels like, honestly, there's a lot of mind games there. Whereas with YouTube, honestly, it just feels very authentic. Like it doesn't feel like I'm naked, someone sees me, this and that, and you know, all the stuff that we just feel with other apps. In my opinion, that's how I feel about it. Yeah, so there's that. And also just like self-validation, and I feel like the self-validation part does also link in with the part about authenticity, because I feel like with self-validation it just simply means that I'm willing to self-affirm that I'm confident in posting this, even if other people don't relate to it or they don't care or whatnot. Like, this is my story. This is something that I want to look back on. This is how I feel. This is my take. This is my point of view. And other people might not agree with it, and that's okay. Like, if there's room for improvement in terms of like being corrected or, you know, told something different, okay, then let someone tell me, you know. I'm not against that, but at the same time, I am not trying to please everyone with what I'm saying. I'm just sharing my story. And if you relate, you relate. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't, you know? So it has taught me like a lot of that. And I love that. Like, I love that I'm very much concerned with this being about my story as opposed to trying to please everyone. So like, yeah, self-validation, self-affirming, you know, like not always needing someone to say, oh my god, like, wow, that is amazing, oh, I'll put this content out, I'll say this because I think like, wow, this is that, because this is how I think about this topic, you know, this is how I feel about it, and that is my opinion. That is my opinion. And I said what I said. And then a big one that YouTube has taught me is falling in love with the process as opposed to the goal or the results. Oh my god, the eyebrow pencil is finished. Yeah, I need to buy an eyebrow pencil. Because it takes so much time to like grow your subscriber count. If someone comments, it's really because they agree with what you're saying and they feel strongly about it, not really because they're doing you a favor to comment or anything, unless it's like your friends and family. But because it is like that, you learn to love the process. You learn to appreciate the whole process of doing YouTube as opposed to the goal of like, when I get 500 subscribers, when I get 1,000 subscribers. You fall in love with actually liking like what you do as opposed to the results that you get from it. You end up really appreciating like the whole process of creating content, the whole process of editing. Editing is not nice, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Like it's one part of the journey that I really struggle with, because I just feel like it takes so much time and all of that. I don't mind filming the content, but editing it, oh child, that's just a lot for me. It teaches you then to really enjoy the whole process, and I'm really liking that a lot. That's why I'm even reading Atomic Habits right now, because I'm finding that honestly the journey is the goal, the process is the goal, because once you get like invested in the process, the goalpost is never changing, because every day you look forward to doing the same thing. And when you get results that are obviously affirming, like, yay, that's great, but when you don't, yay, that's also great, because I'm still going to continue doing what I'm doing, because the whole point is the process. I'm invested in what I do. The entire thing of sitting down and shooting a video, that gives me satisfaction. That does, like, it makes me happy. I look forward to doing that. It makes me happy, you know? And so when you look at it like that, don't rush anything. It teaches you so much about patience and perseverance. Like, yes, we all want nice things and amazing things, but I learned, you know, like, in order for you to have or to be able to give recommendations on a certain product or area of, like, to be able to give like your best expertise, like to be an expert basically in a certain field or whatnot, you need to have experienced the product, right? If you're someone who's an expert in hair, you need to have worn hair, you need to have tried different types of hair in order for you to be able to advise on like what's the best hair to buy, the different textures, the different qualities and all of that. You need to have had like an extensive experience with the hair, you know, and that can be yours sometimes, because sometimes we rush to be expert in certain topics or areas. And I was thinking about how I'm on the hunt right now for the best like affordable shaving razor. So if I were to make a self-care video and I include maybe the best razor, I wouldn't just be thumb sucking and saying this is the best razor because I only tried it once and I know it's the best razor. I would be telling you guys that this is the best razor because I've tried multiple razors, you know, like I've tried different kinds and kinds. Like even right now as I'm sitting here telling you this, like I've tried different ones, and every single time like I use one, I think, this one I like it because of this one I don't like it because of this, right? So if I were to tell you about them, it would be because I've tried and tested and used them. So sometimes we want to like give advice and we want to give like expert opinion and recommendations on stuff that we haven't even done long enough. You haven't done that thing long enough for you to know what works and what doesn't. When I look at myself then, I'm like, oh my gosh, like you had less and you did more. Right now, you kind of don't have the excuse. You don't have the privilege to make an excuse like, oh my god, I can't film content because I don't have this, I don't have that. Like, you had less before and you still did it, you know? In fact, now you need to even go harder. I even think to myself like how whenever I start making excuses and I want to like, take the easy way out, I remind myself to make 2021 Nomfundo proud, the 2020 Nomfundo proud, because she fought so much for me to be where I am. She fought, bro, like she fought, and she had nothing. She had nothing. When I think about how, guys, when I wasn't working, I used to have a routine. I would wake up do stuff. And that time I wasn't working. I used to tell myself that I'm doing this so that when I start working, I don't have to like start over and figure out a routine and stuff like that. Like, YouTube gets to show you all of that. But hey, this is what you said you wanted to do. And now you must do it. Let me see. I don't know, something looks a bit weird. Like, what does it want from me? Like, I'm just a girl. Yeah, so honestly, that's what I feel like YouTube has done for me, and I'm so grateful. Yeah, like I was telling you guys about how I feel like whenever I look back at old me, I'm always reminded to push for where I am right now, because the old me sacrificed so much. She went hard for me. Oh baby, she went hard. She walked so that I could run. So I can't now be out here making excuses and just like playing around with the opportunities that she has afforded me, because she made sure that when I got a job, I already had a routine down. I was ready to go. I was doing a routine before I started working, you know. We were preparing for days like this, you know. We prayed for days like this, and that's why like gratitude is so important. YouTube helps me stay grounded and be grateful. I'm grateful to have pushed as much as I've pushed. I mean, guys, do you know how hard it is to grow from 0 subscribers to 500 subscribers? Like 500 subscribers. The fact that there are people that actually drop a comment and be like, hey, like the video. Oh, this is what I'd like. Like, it's my friends, it's some strangers, and that means a lot to me, you know, because it means I'm cultivating that community that I spoke about, and it's nice. It really is. So let me get dressed. I'm just going to put on some clothes and go to work. Like, I'm going to work, guys, right now. It's currently 6, I think it's 6:30 now. Yeah, it's 6:30 in the evening. I'm going to just put on some clothes, make myself lunch, and I am going to go to work. Like, my shift starts in like 2 hours from now. I want to thank you so much, guys, for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. If you liked the video, please do give it a thumbs up. It really means a lot to me.